Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Ritter. I'm here today to tell you a story that you may never have heard before, in a way you may never have seen before. This is a kamishibai theater. Kami means paper, and shibai means theater. Say, are you ready for a story? Here's a story right here. Shall we do it? Okay, here we go. This story is called The Giant Turnip. And even though kamishibai comes from Japan, this story comes from Russia. It's an old Russian folk tale. Do you know what this is in this picture? It's a turnip. Yes. A turnip is a vegetable. It has green leaves and a big, round, white root, just like you can see. Have you ever eaten a turnip? It's delicious. When they're really, really ripe, they're very sweet. Today's story is about a very, very big turnip. A giant turnip, in fact. One day, a farmer planted a turnip seed in the ground, and while he planted it, he said to himself, "Oh, I wish this turnip would grow to be big and round." The turnip grew very, very large. It looked like it was ready to eat, and the farmer hoped that the turnip was tasting sweet. The farmer pulled on the turnip. He pulled and he pulled and he pulled. But the turnip did not leave the ground. The farmer brought his wife to take a look, and she said, "Oh, what a beautiful turnip! I'd love to cook it." And so the farmer pulled on the turnip, and the wife pulled on the farmer, and they pulled and pulled and pulled, but the turnip still did not come out of the ground. The wife thought for a moment, and then she called her granddaughter. She was sure with the young girl's strength that they would be able to pull the turnip right out of the ground. The farmer pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the farmer, and the granddaughter pulled the wife, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled. But the turnip did not move from the ground. The granddaughter knew they needed more help, so she ran to the house and came back with her puppy. And the farmer pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the farmer, the granddaughter pulled the wife, and the puppy pulled the granddaughter. They pulled and pulled and pulled, but the turnip still did not leave the ground. The dog was very clever. He started to run, and he brought the cat to add to the fun. The farmer pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the farmer, the granddaughter pulled the wife, the dog pulled the granddaughter, and the cat pulled the dog, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, and the turnip still didn't leave the ground. The cat was very fast. She ran to the house, and in less than a minute, she came back with a mouse that lived in the house. The farmer pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the farmer, the granddaughter pulled the wife, the dog pulled the granddaughter, the cat pulled the dog, and the mouse pulled the cat. They pulled and 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 they pulled. The turnip came out of the ground. That night, they all gathered together in the house. They were all welcome, even the mouse. They had a wonderful dinner, and a giant turnip was theirs to eat. But do you know who got the biggest piece of all? It was the mouse. Even though he was the smallest of them all, they gave him the biggest piece of the turnip. And they also gave him a great big shout. And you know why? Well, because without the mouse, they could never have gotten that turnip out of the ground.